first speaker. We'll bring him up. Let me get my notes about PJ. Hey, PJ.
Hello, my beautiful friend. How are you?
How are you? It's so nice to see you.
Thanks. It's fantastic to be here with you and all these amazing gentlemen. Quick shout out to the other PJ in here. I saw you shoot me a note. Just wanted to let you know I wasn't ignoring you.
Nice. Very nice. Well, let me just tell the folks a little bit about you and
Cool.
your resume. PJ is an international resiliency speaker, trainer, coach, and consultant. He's delivered more than 4,000 presentations. He's one of the world's leading authorities on resilience and overcoming obstacles, and has been seen in over 35 countries. And PJ, despite his disability, which was expected to take his life by the age of 7, he chose to live. And boy, did he choose to live. He makes no excuses. He shows up boldly and beautifully in love and service and masculine energy. So he lives an extraordinary life of sailing, outdoor skydiving, indoor skydiving, trapezing, ziplining, hiking, mountain climbing, snow skiing, water skiing, jetpacking, and on and on. Now, how you do this while being in a wheelchair, I don't know, but that's pretty amazing. I mean, we think we have excuses. I think PJ is living proof that we really don't have excuses. We are the ones that set our own limits, and PJ has chosen to live limitless. So without further ado, I'm sorry, I'm missing a couple things.
Oh, it's okay.
He's got lots of awards. We'll put that in his bio in the chat so that you can see. And yeah, let's just get started, PJ.
Let's get started. And let me start by saying this. Gentlemen, from one man to another, thank you for being here. The world needs really good men in it. And only the kinds of men like you that show up to an event like this, hosted by Rochelle, are some of the best men out there, because you're honestly admitting, hey, I'm ready to be in a really happy, healthy, loving relationship. And I recognize that I get to be an even better version of myself. And so the world will be made better by men that are good men like you. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, Western women would save the world, but the world's still going to be made better by us, because we get to hold up the platform and help women be who they want to be naturally. And when we pour into them, they pour into us so much more than we could have ever imagined. So Beautiful. It's an honor to sit in the presence with every one of you.
Yes. Thank you. So like I was saying in my intro there has been a lot of talk about toxic masculinity. And it's kind of the buzz right now. And I would like you to talk about the difference between toxic masculinity and having a strong, solid masculine presence.
So that's a great question, right? Toxic masculinity means you put yourself first. And a solid masculinity is that you really are comfortable in your own skin. You like being a man. You love the fact that you have this kind of masculine strength and power, and you want to use it for, pardon the pun, not pun, but sort of the cliche, you want to use it for good, right? You want to be that expression of strength and power and security and safety. And the toxic masculinity doesn't care about how you show up for others. They care about, or that particular kind of person cares about what they can get for themselves. So there's a difference between a provider, a person who is in their good, innate, natural masculine, and somebody who's a feeder, somebody who's a taker, right? Mm-hmm. That's a person who has experiences toxic or expresses toxic masculinity. And my free gift, which we'll talk about later, inside of there is what I call my masculinity meditation. It'll help you get into that state of solidness where you feel like, wow, I feel really solid and strong and stable. That's an amazing sensation for a man to be in. And I would say the real difference is, am I standing up to serve, or am I looking at how I can take?
That's right.
Let me say this too. Sorry, let me just add one more piece because I get so excited. Sure. The other piece is that how many of you men, just by a show of hands, nodding your head, thumbs up, how many of you have you ever heard that a healthy relationship is give and take? Can I get a thumbs up? And yeah, okay, I see a couple hands, great. So it's not. Let me clarify right away, brothers. It's not. A healthy relationship is not give and take. It's give and receive. There's a profound difference between taking and receiving. And we could even say giving and sharing are two different things themselves. So giving or sharing and receiving, that's a healthy relationship. So many times men take, because that's the way we're designed to get our power. We take power from others to get it. But really, if we're good to our ladies and we're just open and receive, we get so much more than we could have ever tried to take. So healthy relationships are not give and take, they're give and receive. And when you're in that space to receive, your woman feels like she has a place in your life.
That's right.
I just get so excited. Thanks, guys, for letting me talk.
Very well said. Yeah. Thanks. So what would be the traits of a man who is in his healthy masculine energy, aside from being there to receive and not to take, to give?
Yeah. So I would say that some of the traits that are most valuable are the ability to have emotional intelligence. Do you have the courage to actually look inside and go, what am I actually feeling? Because so many times men don't relate and connect with their emotions as much. So we have three emotions: sad, mad, and glad, right? And they often, two of those, the sad and the mad, often translate just as mad, okay? So instead, there are a couple of things, but first and foremost, let me slow down because I'm excited to be here. First and foremost is that if you can touch that emotion inside of you and actually give it a name. Is it sadness? Is it disappointment? Is it embarrassment? Is it feeling weak? Or are you feeling excited? Are you feeling overjoyed? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling courageous? Are you feeling overly protective? Right? If you know what emotion you're feeling, you can articulate that to your lady a little bit more. So adding to that, some other characteristics of a healthy masculine is a man who has the ability to not necessarily solve his woman's problems, because women often don't want us to solve their problems, but rather has the ability to be resilient enough to sit and listen and ask, hey, babe, would you like some different perspective? Or do you just need to talk? Do you just want to get it out? Often women just want to get it out. So do you have the ability to just listen without judgment? Another one is that ability when you really are present. People like, you'll see me shift and kind of squirm a little in my wheelchair. But have you ever been in the presence of somebody who just feels still? They just feel still. They're listening to you. They're present with you. And there's a power about a man who is still. There's a power about a woman who is still also. It's just a different power. It's a feminine expression. So when you're in your masculine and you're in that state of stillness, you don't feel like you need to fidget. You don't feel like you need to move. You're not leaning like lounging back, but you're actually standing on your own structure. And when you're in that stable state and you're present with somebody, present, like you're listening, you're looking, you're hearing, you're feeling, you're listening to what they're saying deeper, you're really present, that expresses a masculinity that people feel safe in, feel nurtured by, they feel protected by, they feel like they're part of, like they're accepted. And that's really important because whether we recognize it or not, humans are still very tribal, especially men. And we want to know that we're part of the group. So when you're stable and you're solid and you're still inside, that mental chatter is not going, when other people are in your presence, they're going to feel that come from you and exude from you. You naturally drop into your innate leadership from that space. Not that you necessarily feel like you want to be the leader, but you're in a space where people will just want to follow you because you'll be coming from that authentic place inside of you, not from that place inside of your head. One last thing that relates to that. If you do feel a little chaotic, you're probably inside of your head. So shift out of your head, feel your physical body, feel the weight of your body, shift your attention from your head to your physical body, from your physical body into your heart, and then from your heart down into the space below your belt line and above your groin. There's a space right in between that area inside of your body. If you come from that space, everything will calm down. You'll be able to listen better. You'll walk with more authority. You'll move with more authority. And why do I say this? Because too many times we will trip ourselves up by getting inside of our head instead of being inside of our body. Men are they like to use their muscles. So come from your body and speak from that place, move from that place, listen from that place. And if you start to feel chaotic, confused, check, are you in your head or in your body? Come back to your body, and that will help to resolve a lot of the conflict.
I love that. In fact, let's do that right now. I could take a minute to take some breath and get in my body. Like, would you like to lead us in doing that?
Yeah, in fact, what I'll do, gentlemen, if you're willing to actually stand up, you can do this sitting down, but I'll just take you through really like 3 breaths of my masculine meditation. So if you're willing, stand up. If not, you can do this sitting down. I do it sitting down all the time. I'm not even going to walk you through the hand process, but I'm going to have you breathe in through your nose, pause. And when you breathe in through, let's not do it quite yet. When you breathe in through your nose, breathe in kindness and love and gentleness and peace and ease and understanding and patience. And then when you exhale, I'm going to have you exhale like audibly, like and longer than you inhale. And it's going to be like, you don't have to make that face with your mouth, but I do it so that maybe you can hear it through my mic. Exhale longer and slower through your mouth and really feel like you're exhaling and packing in all of that energy in your body. Just push it down below your belt line. So all the way into your legs and your feet. And then when you breathe in again, you're going to breathe in peace and love and patience and all of that. Okay. And then when you pause, you're going to exhale audibly and forcibly and tense up your muscles as if you're packing down that energy down into your lower body, down below your waist and your glutes and your groin and your thighs and your knees and your calves, your ankles, your feet, through your whole body. Okay, let's do this 3 times. Breathe in, peace, love, patience, generosity, kindness. Pause. Now, long, slow exhalation forcibly through your mouth, tensing up the muscles, feeling like you're forcing energy down, like you can even use your hand to push down, which I talked about in my masculinity. Push down to your belt line, push all that energy down into your lower body. Pause. Repeat the breathing in, kindness, patience, love, generosity, ease. Pause. Exhale again, pushing all of that energy down as if you're exhaling, pushing all of that energy down into below your waistline, all the way down to the bottom of your feet, through your legs, up to your glutes. Okay, all the way, push. That's right, pause. Now breathe in through your nose again, peace, love, kindness, generosity, love, tenderness, patience, ease. And then exhale again one more time. Audibly exhale, really push all that energy down through your lower body, down lower, through into your legs and your feet and your glutes. Really pack it down. Now feel that place between your groin line and your belt. Can you feel that presence in that space? Can you feel how your mind got calm and quiet? Can you feel a sense of authority and power in your body? Do you feel grounded? Do you feel present? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel aware and intentional? Imagine doing that for 3 minutes. And if you download my masculinity meditation, you'll understand how to move the arms and the hands. When you do this, what happens is you get out of your head, you get into your body, there's intention, there's focus, there's presence, there's power. And listen, not power and authority over others, power and authority over your own decisions, power and authority over your own body, power and authority over your own emotions, power and authority over how you want to give versus how you want to hold back. Okay? You get to make the decisions. Resilience is a choice.
Beautiful. Thank you, PJ. I was putting my hands on my body. That's what works for me, to really feel like here I am now.
Yes.
And ground down. So
yeah.
That feels good. All right. So we've got actually a link to your masculinity and intimacy package in the chat. And I just want to say, when I was looking for speakers that I would like to feature on this event, I was talking to Dr. Nancy Moonstar, and she is the one that told me I should take a look at PJ because he is the sexiest man she knows.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
It's
She
not
is,
just about, like having the rock solid muscular body. It's about what PJ is embodying. Yeah.
thank you. Let me, if I can add to that, and Lucas, I saw the love of the heart go up. Thanks. Rochelle, if I could add to that, thank you so much for the compliment. The sexiness comes from being present in my own body, being still, being intentional, being courageous enough to share what is inside of me and not necessarily holding back, being respectful, obviously, and having enough courage to be a little bit flirtatious, just so that it entices the conversation to be more than just with friends. If I can share a movie scene, can I do that?
Sure.
Okay. One of the things that makes a man attractive and sexy is the raw power that he has, the power that if he wielded it in any way could be scary, but we're not talking about like psychologically off base. We're talking about just physical power and the ability. So I teach martial arts and I teach my students to be, if they have to be, here's how you can be incredibly violent. However, you need to be able to turn that off instantly and be able to switch over and be kind and loving and patient with your lady or with the children or whoever you might have been protecting in that moment. You have to be able to do both. And there's a movie in the scene, Logan, about Wolverine, where in close to the very beginning, Logan is lying in bed with his girlfriend, and apparently he starts to have some kind of nightmare, right? And when he wakes up, his claws are dispatched, and he cut his girlfriend's arm a little, not too much. She was smart enough to get out of the bed quickly, but he's potentially, and this is going to sound terrible, please forgive me, he's potentially a killer, right? And not that I want you guys to be killers, but I want you to not be afraid of your masculinity. That's what I'm saying. Don't be afraid of being courageous. Don't be afraid of being brave. Don't be afraid of standing for what you believe in. Don't be afraid of standing up for what you believe in. But also have that flexibility, because immediately he shifts to make sure she's okay. Have that ability to also be tender and gentle and loving. This is part of what makes a man attractive, is his ability to move easily and at will through that range. I'm not suggesting, when I say to be a killer, I'm not suggesting mean, rude, disrespectful. I'm talking about what inside of you, as if you had to unleash that masculine power, what authority do you have in there? What strength do you have? How far are you willing to go to love and protect? To love and protect, right? Yeah. Are you courageous enough to love?
Yeah. Yes. And I see Brian in the chat, being strong and still soft and vulnerable. That's right.
100%. Listen, gentlemen, vulnerability doesn't not necessarily mean that you come home from work, you're like, oh, my day was so terrible. And you got tears running down your face and you're like, they were mean to me today and they bullied me. It's not about that. It's not losing your masculinity. It's being courageous enough to share your heart. Gentlemen, you might have done this. And Rochelle, please tell us if you've ever had this done. Have you ever, Rochelle, I'll ask you, and gentlemen, think about if you've ever done this. Have you ever had a gentleman that you were dating or connected with emotionally in some way walk up behind you and embrace you from behind and just hug you from behind? And Rochelle, did your body naturally go?
Exhale. Yeah.
Yeah. How come?
It's just the feeling, the solid presence. It's like a container. Like women are so like flowing and busy and thinking of all the things. And for a man to create that container just with his embrace, it makes me feel safe. It makes me feel like I'm here rather than in my head and floating around in my ideas and kind of like feminine bubbly energy. And to have that embrace, it just it brings me back here. And yeah, having that safety to relax and receive, like you were saying, like feminine energy wants to receive. And if she's not met with a partner who is solid, she feels like she's having to be the one providing that and giving and giving. And so that relaxation is like the and that brings out the best in me, because then I'm more, present and loving and soft and playful.
Yeah. You shift into your feminine, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same with men, but when a woman hugs him from the front, she can hug him from behind also. But when a woman hugs a man, gentlemen, I want you to hear this. When a woman really hugs you and holds you, what she's saying is, babe, I've got you. You can be vulnerable with me. You can share with me if you are embarrassed or feeling weak, because just because you're feeling weak doesn't mean you actually are. Just because you feel a little nervous and scared doesn't mean that you won't take action. In what you're saying, and because you probably won't tell you most of your friends, and she may be the only woman that you'll tell this to, what you're saying is, I trust you enough to protect my heart, because while we can embrace a woman from behind, we're basically saying, babe, I've got your back. When a woman embraces us from the front and hugs us and holds us, and she's basically saying, I will protect your heart. You can be open and vulnerable and connected to me. Share with me authentically what you wouldn't share with anybody else. And it will establish a relationship so strong that nothing will break that unless you allow it. Because you're trusting her, this one woman in your life, to share your truth. And she will greatly appreciate that, because most men aren't that brave. They're not courageous enough.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes when I grew up, I had this picture, this painting of an Apache warrior hanging on my wall. And this quote was attributed to Apache warriors, or Apache at the time. So where it originally comes from, I don't know, but it was attributed to the Apache, and it said, there's nothing so strong as gentleness, and nothing so gentle as real strength. There's nothing so strong as gentleness, nothing so gentle as real strength.
Wow.
I read that 1,000 times, if I read it once when I was a kid. Never once thinking to say, Mom, Dad, what does this mean? Never thought about asking somebody else what it meant. I would stand there in my little leg braces, looking up at this picture on my wall, reading it over and over and over. There's nothing so strong as gentleness, and nothing so gentle as real strength. And the reason I say it again and again and again is I want it to get into your head. There's nothing so gentle as real strength. Real strength has the ability to delicately hold something fragile, like the heart of your lady. Real strength has the ability to gently express your emotions. Real strength has the courage to say, how am I feeling? And be vulnerable, because you know you can protect yourself even in vulnerability if necessary.
Oh, that's so nice. It's so good. Yes. Brian comments, it takes strength to be vulnerable. It really does.
It does.
That's the strongest stance you can take, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Yes.
So PJ, what, for a mature man who is desiring a deeper, more meaningful dating experience, not just looking for sex,
Right.
but what is the one piece of inner work that you would recommend that he focus on so that he can attract that woman that he wants to spend time with?
Yeah, listen, that's a great question. And it's exactly what I just said. Having the ability to go from that strength and that power and that hyper masculine killer instinct, protector, defender, right, warrior, from that state of being the gentleman warrior, or from being the warrior, all the way back to the gentleman. Kind, compassionate, loving, gentle, tender, honest, vulnerable. So the inner work that you do is, how can I shift intentionally from gentleness and tenderness and love and kindness and patience and that ability to control my physical muscle so I don't hurt her emotionally or physically. And then how can I turn on the strength and be strong enough to protect her and defend the family? And even though we don't have to do that very much, but just to have that power and that strength to actually be of service, right? So I call it being the gentleman warrior. So if you want to work on something internally, work on being the gentleman warrior, meaning work on being, and was I as kind as I could have been? Was I as honest as I could have been? Kind honesty. Was I as empowered as I could have been, or did I give up my power? Just because you have the ability to see from someone else's perspective doesn't mean you're giving up your power. It means that you're understanding and creating connection. Healthy relationships aren't built on compromise, because compromise leaves someone feeling at a loss and eventually maybe resentful. Healthy relationships are built on collaboration. So that internal work that you do is the ability to see from somebody else's perspective, the ability to shift into your strength, the ability to shift into your tenderness and your vulnerability, the ability to protect, and the ability to nurture, and the ability to be understanding, right? That ability to be flexible. So the problem is that men sometimes get rigid. So the internal piece that you get to work on is, how do I become more flexible? Those who are the most flexible actually have the most control in any relationship.
So I want to underline what you just said there about not relationship not being about compromise, but about collaboration.
Yes.
And so, like, if you're constantly thinking or feeling that you have to compromise and you can't actually say what you want, you just have to go along with what she wants, or she's going to be mad. You know, over time, when you're sacrificing yourself, the resentment is building, and you're building a wall in between you and in the relationship. So I love how you frame it, that it's actually about collaboration and talking about, this is what I need, this is how I'm feeling, and not just say, I don't matter, she's not going to care, but to be able to verbalize your feelings and your emotions in a way that, like, I hear you saying, you know, going from that fight instinct, that warrior state, and being able to shift that, and, you know, just stopping. Do you have a tip about, like, how to shift from warrior to lover, or, you know, to get out of that energy? Is it just to pause and to choose your response rather than act immediately? Or how can a man, like, start to get in touch with what he's actually feeling and be intentional about what comes next?
Take responsibility versus being reactionary. A reaction is a slave action, but being responsible is the ability to respond, which means that you're free. Why do you have the ability to respond? Because there's choice. And when you have choice, you have freedom. So I would say, if you're in that heightened state of aggression or assertiveness, right? And you go, oh, hold on, I want to go from this fighter, this warrior mentality to the lover. It's an intentional shift. Those who shift the quickest are the most successful. So the practice is, how do I feel this state and then release it and then turn so that I can actually express something different. I often say life is not about having the courage or the endurance to push on when things get difficult, but instead to let go of or release the things making it difficult. The problem is men sometimes, and listen, I'm just talking to men, so this is not to say that women are completely innocent, okay? But the problem is that men can sometimes be like a pit bull. They latch on to what they're thinking and their thought and their feeling, and they only want women to see it from their perspective. As long as you do that, there's no flexibility in you. You're in reaction mode, and a reaction is a slave action. But when I say let go of things making it difficult, if all of a sudden you go, you know what, hold on, let me let go of my perspective, shift and make an effort to understand, if I was in your shoes, how would I be seeing myself right now? If I was in your shoes, how would I see this situation right now? If I was in your shoes, how might I think about what's going on, or how might I feel about what's going on? So just that ability to let go is critical. Can you let go of what you're feeling and what you believe to be right, and make an effort to understand, create space inside of you to receive another person's perspective. And it just comes down, really, the process is physically relax first. Okay. Because when we do this, we tense up our face, our muscles tense up, our jaw tenses up, our hands turn to fists. We tighten up the muscles around our neck to protect our neck. The muscles around our lungs tighten so we can breathe in and out quicker, and also to operate a little bit like armor. So if you can unfurrow your brow, if you can drop your shoulders, if you can take a breath in, like long and slow and deep, so that you can actually stretch the muscles around your rib cage, what you're doing is you're changing your physical shape. You're relaxing your body. If you can get your body to physically relax, you can allow your mind to relax. It's always about letting go first. It's always about letting go first. What can I let go of so I can have what I really want? In collaboration, listen, when Rochelle was talking about collaboration a moment ago, one thing, Rochelle, that I think is really important about collaboration is if we're going to be in a partnership together, if we're going to be in a relationship together, I want to see what you want, what you see. I want us to share a common vision. And if our common vision is love and connection and quality time and whatever it is, let's check and see what is this disagreement that we might be having or misunderstanding that we're having. Is it leading us towards what we want collectively? If it's not, how do we come back and collaborate? Hold on, babe. Listen, I know that we feel a little upset with each other right now. I want this in our relationship. And this is what we agreed on. And she's like, yes, I want that too. But you're doing A, B, and C, and D. And you could just simply, instead of defending yourself, you can say, you know what? I can see how that's happening. Let's figure out how we can both shift so we can still move in the direction that we want. Instead of fighting against each other, fight with each other and for each other for the end result of what you want. And remember, one last thing, when you're fighting, when you're disagreeing with your partner, anybody for that matter, but when you're disagreeing with your partner, you're not fighting with them. You're fighting with their baggage. You're fighting with what they haven't let go of yet. So lead your lady by letting go of your baggage first. So you can make space for her in your life.
Very good. All right. Well, PJ, we're at the end of our 30 minutes together. Thank you so much for starting us off with that great grounding and true, solid masculine presence and energy. So
thank you for the opportunity, gentlemen. Continue to be the best possible man you can and shift and change every day. Transformation is a choice.
Ooh, I love it. All right. And we have PJ's free gifts in the chat. Click the link so that you can get his masculine meditation and the intimacy package. So thank you, PJ.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.